Hey guys, Jeff Stewart Johnston here, helping you utilize nutrition, training, and mindset strategies to help transform not just your body, but your life. If you're new here, hit subscribe, and let's get into it. So, what exactly is a macro? Well, macro is really just a term that's short for macronutrients, right? And what is a macronutrient? Well, a macronutrient is one of simply three things: protein, fats, or carbs. So we often wonder what each of these things means, right? What it makes up, because I'm sure you've heard this term utilized tons of times when people are talking about diet, whether they're talking about keto or they're talking about if it fits your macros or any of these things really. Well, let's talk about it. Let's break it down first. Protein. You know, we all love protein, or at least all of us meatheads do, right? It's the building block of muscle. It's all those amino acids you need to make sure that you're getting the maximal amount of what we call protein synthesis. So what is protein synthesis? Well, it occurs 24 hours or so in that window after you exercise, when muscle has been broken down and it needs to repair. And that's when those amino acids go in, they synthesize within the muscle tissue and help it grow. Very simplified explanation there, I understand, but for our purposes, it works perfectly. We need those protein building blocks in order to build muscle. And you might say, well, what about vegans or vegetarians, right? It's going to be harder to get a lot of protein sources. So these are people that really probably need to supplement more with external forms of essential amino acids or even branched chain amino acids, which, not to dive down the supplement rabbit hole, but if you're eating a protein-rich diet, aren't super necessary, especially if you're eating an animal protein diet. But we want to make sure that we're getting sufficient protein. Most people that I work with are woefully under consuming protein, but recommendations that we've found through research, especially from recent stuff done by Brad Schoenfeld, finding that most people probably should be, ideally for muscle building purposes, getting around a gram per pound of body weight from protein. Fats. So what do fats do? Well, fats are going to be necessary for hormonal function, they're going to be necessary for brain function, and the transportation of a lot of vital vitamins. So we need to get a bare minimum of fat in our diet, right? Just for us to function properly. With me, I usually go somewhere in the range of 0.3 grams per pound of body weight for someone who was of healthy body weight. If someone is obese, we might change that up. But for most people, 0.3 grams per pound of body weight is going to be enough fats to keep hormonal function. Now, anything higher than that sometimes can lead to some gastrointestinal distress. Some people prefer a fattier diet. I don't really care. I find with most people they eat too much fat, so I try to keep fats on the lower end. Carbs. All right, so what are carbs? Well, carbs are the body's preferred energy source, right? Whether people want to argue this or not, we found that in exercise, the body is going to want to utilize carbohydrates first. So what are carbohydrates? Well, basically carbohydrates break down into glucose, sugar. Now, the body will use that sugar right away for whatever activities you're doing, running, jumping, sprinting, lifting weights, whatever it is. But it runs out pretty quick. So if we don't have any more of it to use, we need to dip into the muscles. Well, when there's excess glucose, it'll be converted into glycogen. Now, glycogen goes into the muscles, is stored there. It's also produced by the liver, and it'll be later transferred into glucose again in order to be used for whatever activities you might need. So it's kind of this never-ending cycle. Now, most people probably don't need an excess of carbohydrates. I think people probably need more than they do. But basically, you want to use that for your fuel source, timed around your workouts, whatever that might be. All right? So now that we know what each of these macronutrient does, how do we utilize them best for our goals? So now that we know what each of these macronutrient does, how many we need to function properly, well now, let's go ahead and set that up so that we can make them work for us. Now, a real simple formula to use that I like to use for a lot of people is set up your goals based on your calories first. So a real easy way, again, we go by body weight. If we go for 10 times body weight, 10 to 11 times body weight is a great place to start for fat loss. So let's say you're a 200-pound guy looking to lose fat. We're going to make this simple. So we're going to set your calories at 2,000 calories for fat loss. Well, right off the bat, we know that we need to get 200 grams of protein, right? Because we said we're going to do a gram per pound of body weight in protein. So that's 200 grams of protein, done. Well, we know we got to hit 60 grams of fat, right? Because we need 0.3 grams per pound of body weight for fats. Now, how do we know the calories? Well, protein is going to be 4 calories per gram. Fat, 9 calories per gram. Carbs, also 4 calories per gram. Since we know we need to have a gram per pound, we know we need 200 grams of protein. Right off the bat, that's 800 calories. We know we need 60 grams of fat. Right off the bat, that's going to be 540 calories. So right now we are at 1,340 calories. That means we've still got 660 calories left to fill with carbs. So that's going to be about, what, 175 grams, right? 175 grams, maybe 350, 700, a little bit over. So, but we'll do 700, make it a little bit over 2,000 calories because that'll fall between that 10 and 11 times. There you go. There you got it. So a starting fat loss diet for a 200-pound guy, easily 200 grams of protein a day, 60 grams of fat, 175 grams of carbs. Now, we're not taking into account people with high levels of activity or low levels of activity, so these things might change. But that's a great way to start. Now, let's say you wanted to go for a maintenance dose. You just want to kind of keep your calories about the same, your weight about the same, and maybe slowly look to recomp your body. Make it times 13. You want to gain weight. 15, 16, maybe it'll be 17, 18. It just depends on how much you burn. Gaining weight can be hard for guys, so think about it like that. But overall, if you set your calories first, set your protein at 1 gram per pound per body weight, fats at 0.3 grams per pound of body weight, and fill the rest in with carbs, you'll be in good shape. All right, so there it is. Explanation on macros, what they do, why they're important, and how to set them up for work for you. Thanks, guys. Make sure you subscribe below for lots more tips, lots of stuff on diet, training, mindset, things that are going to help you to really transform your life. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you next time.